The Bible does not agree with most of what itself says in the Bible. In other words, there is so much that is within, because it did not come forth from one perspective. There are many perspectives that have been written here, and they do not all agree with one another. What would you say is the central offering of the Bible? In other words, if you could pick one topic, what would you say it is about? Is it a history?
How to live your life, I guess.
Is it instruction of how for you to live your life, or is it a history of how someone else lived their life?
Both.
There is not one source that we would encourage you to go to for the discovery of answers. We would say, open yourself to all that is, and from your point of vibration you will always attract what is perfect unto you for the moment. And the trouble with taking a written history that was written 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, at a time when all things were different, in a part of the world that you cannot even now understand, and it was written many years after the fact, and as you take that information and now try to make sense of it through the format that you are living, it is extremely difficult. And it was not the intent of those who offered in that time. Most of what is written, let us even say from the words of the one you know as Jesus Christ, his message is very badly distorted in what was written. He said, you are not different from I. We are all one. And they made him God. And he said, make me not your God. We are all one.
Okay, now, as far as God goes, is there a certain being that created the whole universe? And
all things have a beginning point, is the assumption. And when that assumption is followed, then the next assumption is that all things have an ending point. And yet we acknowledge not an ending, therefore we can acknowledge not a beginning. We only acknowledge where we are. We have for so long been looking forward. To look back is counterproductive, and so we are not good to speak about the beginning. Although, in the way that you are understanding from what we've talked about here today, you are understanding very clearly your connection with your own inner being. And you can see, as we are speaking, we are sensing from you that you are acknowledging that you are an extension of that broader knowing. And in like manner, your inner being is an extension of broader knowing, and the inner being of that inner being is... And so all of that comes back to that one great source that all are referring to now as God. Whether you call it God or all that is not important. But certainly there is that source from which it all began. But it is not still back there where it was when it began. It is evolved into that which you are. You are the leading edge of that. And so what would you say is the most important part of that? The beginning place where it all began, or what it has evolved to be, you see?
How is meditation different than sleep?
Meditation is a conscious statement of what is wanted, and then a willing process to allow what is wanted. In other words, it is deliberate. While very often in sleep, the conscious statement and the willing allowance is not there. Once you have made the statement that you are wanting the benefit of meditation, which as far as we are concerned, the primary benefit of meditation is the alignment of energies, the bringing of self back to that centered place, so that from that centered place you can now reach out in balance again. Sleep will do the same thing, but if you have fallen asleep without having set forth those intentions, then it is not as productive. Sleep state withdraws you from this conscious place, while in meditation you are still within this conscious place.
Okay.
Attracting unto it. In other words, in a state of meditation you are still vibrating and attracting to this vessel. In sleep state you are not.
Okay, and about the Big Bang Theory and how this, this planet was created.
Explain, if you can briefly, your interpretation of Big Bang. We heard one the other night, did you?
It was a sonic boom, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not clear exactly on how they explain it. A giant explosion, and then, asteroids or, I don't know, like pieces of rock, just appeared. I don't actually know.
Neither do they. You see...
So how did it?
let us see if we can put it into terminology that is acceptable for you. We're groping around here for words that exist not. Energy is something you can sense. You do not understand electricity, and yet you all utilize it. No one understands it while you have harnessed it and benefit from it. There is not one of you who understands its source or what it is. This energy that you have harnessed and call electricity, or the energy that you now acknowledge through your eyes as light or as sound, that same energy has been thought upon, that is perhaps the best way of stating it, focused upon. Physical matter is the extension of refined thought. How is that? In other words, non-physical exists first, and in non-physical there is not place or stuff. Some of our physical friends say, Abraham, where are you from? And we say, we have not a place. And they say, then you must not be very important. And we say, you must understand in the non-physical that it is not stuff. But as thought from non-physical is focused, that refined thought brings together what you call physical mass.
So non-physical entities were wanting to have a place to experience physical?
Perfectly stated. Always wanting to go beyond, wanting to take the thought or the experience of beingness into something more tangible, more real, more sensual, more delicious. And so, in the envisioning of it, it has come together. This and many other physical environments. Yours is not the only one.
So they just kind of...
They thought it into being, literally. They thought it into being, as you think everything into being.
We thought ourselves into being?
In this physical format, absolutely. And that which you continue to be, in other words, it is a continual refining and redefining and restating and recreating. When we say to you, you are creators, what do you think we're talking about? We're not wanting to hurt your feelings. But that's really what most physical beings do in their physical life. They just move stuff around, you see. Because you do not see yourselves as creators. You do not understand that it is the living of it and the interpreting of it and the deciding from it and the resonating within it that is taking that which is to come beyond that which it is, you see. But instead, you get so involved in the moving the stuff around, you forget the greater purpose, you see.